The cult. So my roommate, let's call him Sean, left school before the semester ended, and I thought this was rather strange. So I rummaged through some of his stuff and found a notebook. What I read was shocking. Here's what the notebook read. I replaced names for privacy reasons. Well, I've never really written a diary or anything before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. But here goes nothing. Night 1. The concert was good, I guess. I'm not really into screamo that much, but Jack was good on guitar. So my girlfriend Rachel and I were taking everybody home. We came close to Rick's house and we saw a bright orange light up the night sky and smoke rising into the heavens. It was extremely large amounts of light and smoke, so naturally we went to check it out. We thought a house was on fire. That's how large it was. It was strange because there was no road that led directly to where the fire was. So we parked the truck on the closest street and proceeded on foot. As we got closer to the fire, we started to hear chanting. We couldn't tell what the chanting was saying, but it was deep and loud. I'm not sure why I got as close as I did, maybe to impress Rachel. But the point is, I got close, too close. Every person chanting was surrounding the fire in a large circle, and they all appeared to be wearing the same robes, like a monk's. Anyway, I was at least less than 100 feet away from them. I held my phone up so that I could take a picture, but before I could get the photo, one of the men saw me, and in an instant all of them were glaring at me, their hoods darkening their faces. Instinctively I took off running and ran back to the truck and yelled, "Drive!" Immediately Rachel floored it and we took off. They asked me what happened and I told them that I thought they saw me. It was quite a scare, but I wasn't too worried. It's not like they knew where I lived. I went home that night, and at about 1 in the morning I decided to hit the hay. This is when it began. I had a terrible nightmare. It wasn't anything gruesome or disgusting. It was just shocking. All it was just someone in a cloak, like the ones I saw, one of the people by the fire. What I saw was this man in the cloak. All he did was stand there and stare. I couldn't make out any features of his face, just his eyes. They were pitch black, piercing, like they were staring straight into my soul. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Night 2. I had the same dream as last night. It was longer this time. I felt like I wanted to wake up, but couldn't. It was like the man had trapped me. Night 3. I don't want to sleep tonight. Can't stand to have that dream again. I've been looking over my shoulder all day. I'll just drink some Red Bull and watch a marathon of Top Gear. Day 4. I might be going crazy, or maybe it's the lack of sleep, but I could have sworn I saw the cloaked man outside my chemistry window. Night 4. I tried to stay awake again tonight, but I just couldn't. The lack of sleep got to me and I passed out. The dream was worse than ever. Same dream, same cloaked man. Just this time, there was a high-pitched squeak going on the whole time, and every once in a while a deep laugh would arise, then fall as quickly as it had come. I can't take much more of this, and Luke is no help, since he's home for the long weekend. Night 5. I decided to have Rachel stay with me tonight. I don't want to face this alone. Once again, same dream, same man, same high-pitched squeak, except this time the laugh was louder and more frequent. I feel like this is from Freddy Krueger shit. Day 6. I saw him again. He was in the motherfucking reflection of my bathroom mirror. I looked behind me and he wasn't there. God, I don't know how much of this I can take. Night 6. Luke's back and I told him what had been happening, and he told me to just relax, that I'm overreacting. He's probably right, but why can't I shake this nightmare? Day 7. I saw him again today. He was across the street from me, just glaring. I know he was there, because I stared back at him for a good 20 seconds. I think they are after me. They're gonna kill me. Night 7. I actually didn't have the dream tonight. It was worse. I awoke with a jolt in the middle of the night. I can't remember why, but what I saw nearly gave me a heart attack. I glanced at the window, and there, standing in the window, was the fucking cloaked man. I looked away in fright, and when I looked back, he was gone. I have to get out of here. I'm going home. Can't stay here anymore. Day 8. I packed the majority of my things. I'll leave the dresser here for Luke. Give him more space. I hope that maybe this trip back home will fix me. I think I just need to get away. The night. Luke invited me to a party tonight, but I told him I was too tired and I was going to get some sleep. I wish I went to that party. Luke stayed out all night, so it was another night alone. The dream came back and it was just as bad as before. Like last night, I woke up in the middle of the night and looked out the window. Thankfully, there was nobody there. I jolted in fright when there was hard, frequent and frantic knocking on my door. I looked through the peer hole and I saw Rachel knocking and banging, screaming for me to help. I opened the door and he was fucking standing there. I was paralysed with fright. Sorry if this seems really descriptive, but I will never forget that image in my head. He glared at me with his dark, piercing eyes for what seemed like an eternity. Then, in an instant, he released a horrible, blood-curdling scream and lunged at me. Then I blacked out. I woke up on the floor of my dorm room with the door wide open and a crowd gathered around me. And go fucking figure, there he was, in the back of the crowd, glaring at me. Fuck this, I'm grabbing my things and I'm leaving for home. Fuck this, I just can't take it anymore. That is the end of the notebook. This is Luke speaking again, and after I read this over a couple of times, I decided to do some research on this cult. I found nothing, but what I can tell you, what has happened since the incident, and what I've determined. Well, Rachel went back home as well. I guess she's not with Sean anymore, but there is a good reason for that. Sean never made it back home, for some god-forsaken reason. He jumped in front of a moving train and killed himself the night he was supposed to get back home. I think his plan of escaping the cloaked man didn't work, and he just couldn't take it anymore. Here's what I've determined on the whole situation. There was no cult. I talked to Rachel and the others about the fire, and they said that it wasn't chanting that they heard, it was singing, and they also said that they didn't get close enough to tell, but they said they couldn't see anyone around the fire. So I think that they were all figments of Sean's imagination. Maybe something happened to him in his childhood that sparked his mind to think up this disturbing cult. I'm not the best at research, so maybe I missed some key information about this cult. Any info you might have on this cult would be greatly appreciated. And on a side note, I'm pretty sure I saw the cloaked man in the hallway while I was getting a drink. Maybe Sean's notebook is getting to me. The red and green eyes are always staring. At the time, I was still in the first grade when I moved out of our old house. Before we moved, I was living in Reading, and my grandfather had a jewellery store at the time, just down the street from the house. At that time, I used to walk to school every day, just up on the hillside. School for me was a long and boring place that I had to attend regularly. My teacher was not one of my favourite people. Luckily for me, that was a short-lived experience. I was glad to be out of that school, for good, seeing as how Reading High is more like a babysitting service than a school. We moved out and found a new home on the outskirts of Reading, in a small development. The development was said to have been built on swamp land, seeing as how the water was laying into the ground and the roads flooded after it was done raining. Seeing as I was living there for the years leading up to my graduation, Temple was now my new home. After we have settled into our new house, I began to see things that I've never seen before in my room. For 12 years, I have left my closet door closed at night because I have seen something that to this day still unnerves me. 2 eyes, at least, I believed were staring at me. I have tried everything that I could think of to debunk this, as to what it could be. I had a very thick blanket that is black with a white Raiders logo and with white writing. I decided to use it as a curtain, seeing as how I did not like the amount of light that was piercing through my window at night, but to no avail. The two eyes did not disappear, always staring, always looking at me, a red and green eye, never moving, evenly spread apart. I never found out what it could be. I was thinking that it could be a toy or something that would glow in the dark, but that was not the case, seeing as how batteries die, and I've seen the two eyes staring at me for 12 years. Every night I closed my closet door and I did not see the two eyes staring at me through the wood of the door. I felt some relief when I closed the door, knowing all too well that it was waiting there for me to open the door. Then one day I had a friend come over and sit in the closet space. He said to me that he felt a presence in the closet. I don't know if I am inclined to believe him, but I can only tell you what he said. He told me there was something in the closet that made him sick to his stomach, and that he felt uneasy sitting there. He left to go home that day with no other incident, and all was quiet that night. Only the eyes are staring at me, never wavering or changing, just staring all night. I was getting annoyed by this and was about to paint the back wall of the closet, but I was thinking, what if this did not work? And I was thinking that it could be a real mess, seeing as how I have a large wooden toy box in the closet full of stuffed animals. I decided not to do so after all. A few years had passed with nothing else but those glowing red and green eyes staring at me. My grandfather from my mother's side of the family died at around the same time my great-grandmother died from my father's side of the family. At the time we had to move a business and 2 residents, seeing as how we had a lot on our to-do list at the time of moving everything from 2 locations. I did not pay much attention to my closet. When we finally got everything out of the closet, I noticed that the 2 glowing eyes were still staring at me, never changing, never faltering, just staring. Once we finally made the move complete, I have not seen those eyes since then. I still wonder to this day if they are still there, looking out of the closet, staring. And that's it for tonight, my little hellhounds. Thanks for listening. If you have any scary stories, then submit them to Reddit r/homeofscares, and follow me on Twitter at homeofscares. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed tonight's scary stories. Now, good night, my little hellhounds.